Welcome to this first webinar in the Silicon Web Customers Guild Presents series for the 2025-2026 season. This webinar is CustomCon 2026 virtual competitions with feature fashion, single pattern, and doll competitions. A few notes about the webinar series. The Silicon Web Customers Guild webinar series offers talks by speakers on a variety of topics about costumes and costuming. The webinars are free to Silicon Web members, and they may also be available to the greater costuming community on a space available basis. If you have any suggestions for future speakers or topics, or you want to send feedback, please send it to board@siwcustomers.org with the subject line webinar series. We'd like to acknowledge the International Customers Guild Marty Gear Costuming Arts and Sciences Fund for a grant award in support of developing this webinar series, and to the ICG for making its Zoom platform available to chapters and special interest groups. A few notes on using Zoom. Please set or leave your audio and video controls on mute. Feel free to chat or react, however, during the presentation. There will be a Q&A period after the presentations. To ask questions, type it into the chat window and optionally label it with Q&A. Once the webinar is over, please complete a brief survey on your experience. CustomCon 2026 will host a virtual future fashion, single pattern, and doll competitions on April 18th, 2026. In this webinar, the co-directors of the competitions will be describing the events and discuss the rules and how to enter and deadlines. They'll also highlight a few of the entries from last year's virtual events and past competitions. So please bring your questions. About the speakers, Pierre and Sandy Pettinger have been costuming for over 40 years. They've been CostumCon co-chairs, and they were involved with running several WorldCons. Sandy has judged both SFNF and historical masquerades, and Pierre is the ICG archivist and a past ICG president. Bruce and Nora Mai are associate ICG archivists. Bruce focuses on collecting and preserving media, while Nora focuses on digitizing historical costume photos and ephemera. Nora has been costuming for 50 years and has received a CostumCon Founders Award, and she is a past ICG president. Kathy and I have been costuming for over 30 years. Kathy also studied theatrical costuming in college. We've judged and run masquerades at CostumCon and other conventions. I'm the editor, and Kathy is the assistant editor of the Virtual Costumer magazine, and I'm a past ICG president. So with that, let's begin the webinar with an introduction to the CostumCon 2026 virtual competitions. Nora, take it away.
Oh, well, thanks for this past January, when unfortunately CostumCon 43 had to be canceled, Bruce and I were already running the single pattern for CostumCon 43. Pierre and Sandy were running the folio and already had published the folio. And we knew that certain people who regularly attend CostumCon had already worked on or even completed their items for these two competitions. So we kind of felt they were given a chance to show off their work. Actually, it was Pierre who came up with the idea of, well, we could do this virtually, for the future fashion folio. And I jumped right in and said, well, absolutely, so can the single pattern. So we then doing this because normally, of course, it would be in person and you would do the standard way we've done it historically. And then we just decided to go for it. Now, we did change the name of the competitions. For this past year, 2025, back in April, it was CostumCon 43. But for next year, it's going to be called CostumCon 2026 so that we don't interfere with the regular naming convention of the convention itself. And when it is done with its hiatus and we are back to attending live again, we'll go back to that numbering system. But for the virtuals, we're just going to use the year to refer to them. It was suggested to us that by another member of the ICG, Susan DeGuardiola, that perhaps the doll competition could also be done virtually, which she was 100% correct. And we put that out there, and Bill and Kathy decided that would be something they want to take on. So we're going to have three, and they're going to be handled much the same as they were this year. But we'll have three competitions for everyone to enjoy as a show in April of 2026. And if you'd like to look at the virtual competitions from this year, we have two videos up on the ICG Archives channel on YouTube. We have the full show, which we did live, and it includes the ICG Archives Memorial and the ICG Lifetime Achievement Award presentation, with all its warts and freckles and whatever little tech happenstance we had with that show. It was not flawless, but it was pretty close. But if you want to see the full show, that one is up there. And we also have a little video that is just the PowerPoint presentation turned into a video, which is just of the virtual competitions. So you can see either one on the ICG Archives channel. Now, Pierre is going to tell us about the theme for our virtual competitions.
Past years, we've occasionally had themes listed for either some or all of competitions at a costume con. We were thinking about that, and nothing was really coming to mind, but I happened to read a quick article because I had forgotten that Milan in Italy is going to be hosting the Winter Olympics next year. So we thought that would be a great idea. Milan is a center of a great many things, fashion. They have a big fashion week every year there, beautiful architecture, lots and lots of famous pieces of art scattered throughout the city. So just loads and loads of inspiration. So we are going to go with the theme of Milan. Any way you want to look at it for Milan as a theme. You don't have to hit that theme. It's not required. But if you want to go with it, that would be a good idea. We've got a couple of photos here of some things from Milan, and there's tons and tons more. I will probably be posting a couple pictures here and there every couple weeks for the Future Fashion Folios event page on Facebook, which we'll show you here in a bit. And you can look at those for inspiration, or you can just do some Google searches for things from Milan and get some great ideas.
Okay, so what are we going to do specifically? We are going to have the Future Fashion Folio, which Pierre will tell you more about. And that, of course, is the actually published designs from the Future Fashion Folio design competition. So what we'll be presenting next spring will be the Future Fashion Show, which is garments that are made from the Future Fashion Folio. We will have the single pattern contest, which you'll also learn more about in a little bit. And then we have the doll virtual competitions, which Phil and Kathy have some info on. It will be April 18th, 2026 at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 7 p.m. Central. It will be on Zoom, and we will have a link for you once we create it, because we're not going to create something this far in advance, because that would be sort of ridiculous and we'd probably lose it. So we'll wait until it's closer to it to get you that link, but there will be a link. It will be available everywhere. And there are Facebook events for the competitions. Now, if you're not on Facebook, you can contact us and we can get you the information that you need. Anybody is welcome, but it is easier if you go on Facebook and go to the event pages, because everything, all the rules and deadlines and links and all that stuff will be there as soon as we have it. Whereas if you're waiting for an email, or it's been gone a little while and you haven't heard from us, we may have lost your email, which I know we all know it happens. But if you can get to the Facebook events, that's going to be the easiest way. There is one for the Future Fashion Folio, one for the single pattern contest, and one for the doll competition. If you go to the Costume Con Facebook page, it's off of their events. Or you can just, as suggested there, search for Costume Con 2026.
So the first thing we're going to talk about here about the three competitions is the Future Fashion virtual competitions. The Future Fashion Show has a long, long history with Costume Con. It has been here since the very first one, but it's actually much older than that. As far as my knowledge goes, they originated in Equicons back in the 70s. Those were Star Trek conventions that were run by John and Joe Trimble, and they were very popular. You know, dozens of people on stage after they had made things from their own folios. So when Karen Schnaubelt, who is the owner of the service mark for Costume Con, was organizing Costume Con 1 way back for 1983, she decided that one of the things that would be at every Costume Con was a future fashion design competition and show. The folio, the design aspect of it, is an item that's done entirely from drawings. Here's some pictures of the first couple of covers for the folio. At this time, they were pretty much just sheets of paper stapled together, often just at the corner, and mailed out, but they were a physical production. What you would do is you would draw up designs of future fashion. That was a very wide field, open to lots and lots of interpretation, and we got it. Everything from space pirates to Star Trek to Star Wars to vampires and things like that, and other things that could not be connected to any particular genre or source. And that was good. That was the way it was intended to be designed, work on. It has been held every year and is usually a fairly popular part of Costume Con. This is from Costume Con 3. This happens to be one of Sandy's and my designs and my creation. What happens is once we get the drawings and judge them, and they are judged, the winning designs are published in the folio, and we send those out to all, at that time, all the members. For this, we'll be sending out to everybody who expresses an interest. You don't have to buy a membership because there are no paid memberships to this. Once that folio is out, people could sign up to make any of the costumes that they saw drawn there. And the idea was to explore how people would interpret a two-dimensional black and white drawing into a final three-dimensional product. This particular one, the business suit, when I was much, much thinner and had much more hair, was one example. And we have another example here, I believe, from Costume Con 43, which was the last one. This was the cover, and this was a costume that was designed by Trixie Lou Wolf and made by Carrie Condon. You can see how it was, how she interpreted. She actually did a complete crocheted and knitted costume on the watermelon dress. And that's just one of dozens of ways you could have interpreted that gown. And that is part of the fun of the Future Fashion Show and folio. The complete rules currently for the folio are available again at our Facebook page. If you want to see them, and you, again, as Nora says, you don't have Facebook, you can contact me directly, and Sandy and I will help send them out. And you can send it to that email address that lists under digital entries, because that's where the entries are going to come anyway. Just email it, put something in the subject line of future fashion competition or something, so I know it's not spam. And we will answer your questions and give you any information, send you the rules, that sort of thing. Physical entries can also be sent to us by mail, again, at the address you see on the screen. We originally had set a deadline for drawings of the end of this month, but we made the decision that since we were going to do this webinar in September, that we wanted to give everybody lots more time to think about it. So we need to have designs received by us by October 31st. That's by either physical mail or email. You can send your designs email, not a problem. If you want to send them in some other way, I'm okay with that too. A Dropbox link, something else. Let's let me know how you want to get them to me, and I will get them to you. Do check the rules for the exact details of what we need to be able to use your designs. And although this explains the rules, I'm going to go through this real quick for those of you who may not be aware. When you submit designs to the folio, what you are giving us as rights is the rights to judge them, publish them, and for people to make them for this particular show. We do reserve the right to continue having those available for people to look at, but you retain all other rights. And if somebody wants to make one of your outfits after the show, then they need to contact you to get permission to do so. And that is the sum total. Like I said, we just want to assure people that you still maintain all your rights to your designs. We're only have a very limited use of those rights for the show. Generally, we like to sometimes use the designs also for promotions. But again, that is the limiting to what we do. Entries will be viewed again by a panel of judges who will consider the design of the costume, how well the design embodies a stated theme, and creative use of features incorporated into design. Now, I do want to let everybody know and reassure everybody, these are not judged by the quality of the drawing. You don't have to be an artist to be able to do this. We are looking for the ideas behind the drawings. We have judged and given awards to items that were done by 7 and 8-year-old children in an artistic style, very typical of a 7 or 8-year-old child, all up to very sophisticated drawings, and all of them win or lose based on the design, not on the quality of your drawing. So don't be afraid that you're not an artist. If you want to use a crocus to use as the base, go ahead. That's good. That's a pre-made drawing of a human figure. Not a problem. Let us know if it's nice to put down where you got the croquis if you're using one. And there are lots of them available all over the internet. Not hard at all to find. And you can just draw your costume over that figure. Our awards for the folio are Best in Show and various awards recognizing design, creativity, and other factors. And we reserve the right to give out other awards as the judges see fit. So once you get the folio, once the folio is done, we'll send out emails to everybody that needs to do it. We'll post it on our event page, and you just need to let us know you would like a copy, and we will send it to you. Or more likely send you a Dropbox link because they're usually large and hard to email. Again, for the competition, as we mentioned, once the folio is published, pick a design they'd like to recreate, let us know. A designer can exclusively reserve one of their own designs, but all other designs, including those not exclusively reserved by designer, are available for multiple reservations. So you don't have to worry about getting your selection to us immediately. You're not on a race to get the design you really want. If somebody else already picked it, that's fine. We're going to let you make it as well. Sometimes the fun of this is seeing how different people interpret the same design. And we've seen some very interesting variations on that over the years. Once we get to the show, we'll be publishing rules as soon as the folio is released, and they will be with the folio document as to what you need to do to make a reservation and the requirements for the show. They're usually very simple. We'll be asking for photos, documentation, that sort of thing to be sent up for us to set up the show. And then those items will be submitted to the judges. And once those winners are selected, that will be listed. And when we do the show, all of the things that are made will be shown, and you can see how everyone interpreted each drawing as you went. Does notion here how your entries what it should include. And again, this information is in the rules that you'll find on Facebook, or if you need me to send them to you. We need your name and contact information, design you're selecting, photos that then when you submit, photos that show off the creation, a description to read when your entry is presented. You don't have to, but that's helpful for us. And any additional information you would like the judges to consider. Again, entries will be judged by how well the entry interprets the design, the creativity in translating it to physical form, embellishments and things like that for workmanship, fabric manipulation, and so forth. We usually give out a best in show, and we usually give out a best by designer, best by non-designer interpretation, and we reserve the right to give out other awards as the judges see fit. So visit our Facebook event page or contact us at our email address here, and we will give you any other information you need. As we mentioned, if you don't do Facebook, just send a request to me, and we will be happy to send you the rules and any other information you require. So any other questions? Let me look and see what it says here in the chat, if there's anything here. I don't think you see anything here that I haven't already answered to Bruce kind of on the side. So does anybody else have any questions on the Future Fashion, either the design competition or the show? I'm not seeing any. I will take it off to the single pattern.
Okay. Single pattern didn't start until CC 12, and it was introduced by Kevin Roche. That was 1994. It's very popular. some patterns more than others, but people tend to enjoy it. Now, what is a single pattern? You take some patterns that we will suggest to you, and you'll see what our patterns are in a bit, and you make a creation from those patterns, either one of the patterns, or you can combine them into an entire ensemble. And it has to be recognizable as that pattern, but what you do with it, whether it be with embellishment or manipulation or completely not as appropriate materials, I mean, you can do anything you want to it, make your individual vibe out of it. There have been 77 patterns used over the variety of years, different sources for the patterns, and only one has ever been repeated, and that is going to be this year. The Tibetan panel coat was very popular at CostumeCon 14. It has been popular with costumers for years, and so we're going to repeat the Tibetan panel coat this coming year, and we think it'll be very popular too. The largest single pattern show was at CostumeCon 37 in 2019. There were 39 entries, and I know that because I was one of the judges. It was a task, I can tell you that, because there was a lot of gorgeous stuff and a lot of different ideas and a lot of different ways of seeing those patterns produced. So we enjoyed it, and it's always a lot of fun. Highlights of the rules. It's just a starting point. If you sew, you know you can take a pattern, you can do whatever you want to with it. And we have to be able to recognize it, but it can look wildly different from what the original pattern design on the pattern envelope looks like. But you can use any way you want to do that. We are using 4 patterns this year. They are all from folkwear. So we're not using any of the big 4. We're not using any hard to find small pattern companies. These are just from folkwear. Folkwear patterns are available from a variety of sewing websites, including their own site. And they are also available, most of them are available on Amazon if you have access to that. So we're starting Chinese pajamas. And this is unisex. It's the pants and the jacket. They're fairly blocky shapes, which gives you great big open pieces to embellish or design or to show off that particularly great fabric that you have. So it'll be something fun that you can maybe wear, something that you can wear out for a fancy evening. That's one good thing about folio and single pattern is usually you're going to create a costume which is more like real clothes, so you can wear it for other reasons other than costuming events. Our second paddle duster. Now they give it as a misses sizes 8 through 16. That's on the small side, but they're easy to scale up. And of course, it's a shape that could easily be worn by any gender. And it is just a large coat with a very full skirt, and you could do any number of things with this open terrain that you could decorate or manipulate with pieces and patches of things. It is unlined. You can line it if you want, but that is up to you. And again, this would be a garment you could combine with other patterns, or you could wear somewhere else. We are including the folkwear Big Sky riding skirt. Basically what it is a split skirt, and then the panel in the front is buttoned in place onto the legs of the split skirt, so it looks like a skirt. So it's more modest, so women aren't running around wearing pants. Horrible. This is something that would look really cute with the duster combined with that, and you could do something that matches or contrasts with it, or you could simply just do the skirt. It's a very full skirt. So you could have a lot of fun with that panel with the buttons, or you could attach it in a different way. Who's to say you couldn't put zippers to attach that front panel? Not me. All right, and this is the Tibetan panel coat. Super popular for years amongst costumers. I think most of us have one in our closet. And we're repeating this because I've been wanting to do a repeat of this for years just to see what people could do with it. They include traditional construction notes with the patterns. They do that with all of their ethnic patterns, but you know don't have to follow those. They also include just standard modern things, and it's a really good, obviously panel coat. You can do a number of different narrow panels of contrasting or coordinating fabrics or textures or materials that are just going to really pop once you put them all together. When you see the full outline of the way this is put together with the yoke and the collars and all the different pieces, there's a lot of things you can do with the Tibetan panel coat that's fun. And again, you can combine it with any of the previous patterns. You could put a Tibetan panel coat over a duster because the Tibetan panel coat technically, to our terminology, is a vest. So you could do that. You can contact us with any questions, or if you're not on Facebook and you want rules or information by using the Von Drago account. That is my personal account. So I will be watching for your information. As Pierre mentioned earlier, please do include some mention of the fact that you're asking questions about the single pattern so I'll know what I'm looking at. When you do your entries, which we will give you more details for this later, we will be setting up a Dropbox so that you can upload photos of your creation and give us all your contact information and a little description of what you did to make it different and make it work. And anything else, like if you learned a new technique or something you would like the judges to know about. Like I said, we will be posting much closer to the event how you will be putting those up to us so that we can get them. And we do require like a few number of pictures, like front, back. I like a cutesy picture so that it looks like you're posing and looks very fun. And you can include, I've gotten dozens of photos on for this last one because somebody wanted to show me all the little details of their work. Absolutely acceptable. We love seeing more pictures. Your entries will have to be received by April 12th, so our judges do have a few days to actually look through them and see what they want to do. So it's all very typical. We will have a panel of judges. They will look at your design. They will look at your adaptation from the pattern. They will look at what you did, what kind of materials, what sort of new techniques you might have tried. There will, of course, be a best in show. There's frequently a best of pattern if we have enough. Like if we get 25 Tibetan panel coats, there's going to be a best Tibetan panel coat. No question. If we only get one of something, we may not have a best of that pattern. We might. But we also pick things out that we just like for what they did, or what they did a great thing with the theme, or we just particularly liked their color usage. So you never know what's going to come out with the awards. As typical for a costuming event, you're going to get some strange award names sometimes, but we try to, take it seriously and reward what we like and reward excellence. And again, the Facebook event is your best bet to get information, but we are happy to deal with you outside of Facebook. You can message us through Facebook. You can message us through the Von Drago account, and we will be happy to answer any questions for you. Does anyone have any questions right now? Doesn't seem like anyone does. You're all so quiet and not asking questions, but I take it because I recognize most of your names. You already know what we're talking about. All right, on to you and Kathy. Phil, you can do your doll stuff.
Okay. So I'm Kathy, and we decided that we would try to run the doll competition this year when they put out a call for someone to do it. We've never done this before, and I've entered it once myself, but we've never run it and we've never judged it. So this is something new for us. We're hoping it'll be fun. They have had these periodically since Costume Con 5. This is one of the competitions that happens when somebody feels moved to do it, like the handbag competition or some of the other ones that are intermittent. What will happen is a participant will create original costumes for either a purchase or a custom-made doll or a figure. It does not have to be a human-shaped doll. It can be an alien. It can be a teddy bear. The documentation about the design and construction of what you're doing is also encouraged as part of the entry. And if you make your own doll, documentation about making the doll itself is also encouraged as part of the entry. The judges will be focusing on the originality, the craftsmanship that went into the costume or the doll, and the presentation. So the picture where you pose the doll to show off the costume. There are potential special awards for the theme or for particular techniques, as well as something like a best in show. The highlights of the rules for 2026, you can enter a single doll or a small themed group of dolls. And by group, we mean probably no more than about 6. The entry must be designed and built and presented by a single person, unless we're talking about someone who is under the age of 12. If they are 12 or under, they may be assisted by a parent or guardian, but they need to substantially contribute to the entry. And that means perhaps that they designed it. That might mean that they helped work on the assembly of it, but they need to be somebody who's contributed to the actual end product. If you want to exhibit a doll, but you do not want to have it judged, that is also okay. We will accept exhibition-only entries in single dolls or themed groups. The doll you used may be purchased. You can modify a purchased doll, and you can hand make a doll. It's up to you what you want to do. The rules are available on this particular website that you can see on your screen. 3 things will be judged separately in this particular competition. The design will be judged. So the design of the costume, which can be a recreation source or an original concept. So if you wanted to do Arwen Evenstar as seen in the movie, that would be recreation. If you wanted to do an original concept, that's fine too. We're also considering construction, choice of materials, the techniques that you used, and the quality of the construction. And then, as I said before, the presentation, how you pose it, how you light it. Do you make a little background that goes behind the doll that adds to the contribution in the picture? To submit your entry, you need to submit them online. There is a form already available for you to fill out, and that will result in you getting a link to a location online where you can upload all your supporting materials. So your documentations, your comments, and your photographs. You need to send it in digital form because we're not accepting physical media for this particular competition. And it must be received no later than April 1st, 2026.
The doll competition entry includes a number of things. First of all, the things that are on the entry form, like the title of the entry, the name of the entrant, email address for communication, and whether you're a young adult, a regular entrant, or for exhibition only. And then once you have your location where you can put your files with your images and things like that, you can submit 1 to 5 images of the entry, or, and this is a new one, a short on the order of 30-second video that illustrates it. Sometimes the dynamics make a difference in the dramatic presentation, sort of like being on stage. You must include clear views of the doll, so no shady pictures with shadows and things like that. We have to be able to see the doll. If audio is included in the video, it should come from what I'll call a license permitted source. That is to say, whoever created the audio has given permission to use it in the context that we'll be using it. That is to say, web presentation. You should include a short description to read during the presentation. It's optional, but again, it's encouraged. You should also submit a design drawing, plus source image for recreations or a statement of concept if it's an original design. Again, this is optional, but it's encouraged if you want to be considered for design awards, because this is what the judges will be using to determine your design. Also, 1 to 5 additional images highlighting the materials, construction techniques, and a list of materials. Again, this is optional, but for the construction awards, it's strongly encouraged. You should also disclose which items in your entry are store-bought. We're suggesting 20% or less of the entry for these competitions. For the doll competition judging and awards, again, there'll be a panel of judges. We're going to have awards for best design, best construction, and best presentation, and there'll also be a best in show. Judges may present additional awards in each category to recognize specific genres, for instance, science fiction, fantasy, historical, teddy bear, any of those things, alien, types of construction, styles of presentation. Judges may also present awards honoring specific features of the entry for special recognition. So for instance, if there was a particularly charming hat that was in there, or you're using unusual materials for something, then they may recognize those as well. Award recipients will receive certificates, and major award recipients may also receive ribbons.
In the tradition of doll competitions that have been held at the past costume cons, entries in this one may appear in an online exhibition. So you need to be aware that there is a very good chance that there will be an online exhibition of the dolls. It will provide an opportunity for people to actually view them and learn more about the entries. And it will be announced on social media and on the Facebook event page for the doll competition. There is, as in all the other competitions, a Facebook page. If you cannot do Facebook or choose not to do Facebook, you can contact the competition co-directors. Our emails are listed here, and we will get you the information that you need. As listed before, please put something in your header like doll competition or costume con dolls, so that we know that that's what it's about. Because if I don't see a header there, I am much more inclined to throw you into my spam bucket, and you don't want to go there. Here's some examples from past competitions in case you want to see some of the breadth of entries that we've had. Francesca was a little Renaissance doll. There was a baby boy doll in a knit outfit. And then Cat People of the Outer Regions, a little alien set of dolls. We have Ariel. That was a modified purchase doll. Somebody got the doll and then put a tail on her. We have a lovely teddy bear there. And then we have a Barbie redone as the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz. Here's a little alien. I'm not sure what Soul Collector is from, but somehow the name rings a bell. So I think that's from a literary source. The Topsy-Turvy Ragdoll, this is something on a traditional kind of thing where if you flip that doll over, there's another doll on the bottom where the legs would normally be. And then yet another animal doll. This is a nice little cow barbarian doll. Are there any questions about the doll competition? No other questions that I can see. Are there any questions about any of the competition?
So just in summary, here's the entire virtual competitions at a glance. The three competitions that are being held: Future Fashion, Single Pattern, and Doll. It's going to be on April 18th, 2026, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can interpolate between those. The Zoom link will be announced much later once we're close to the competition. Entry deadlines, see the individual competitions because the deadlines are different for each one.
Oh, a question has come up. Someone's asking about guidelines and suggestions for photographing their entries, such as backdrops and lightings. Does anybody have comment on that from
I do.
Go?
I like to encourage people to take pictures outside if possible, because we all know how cluttered our houses get, and then you don't know what's behind you, and it gets to be, oh, look, forgot that was sitting out when I took that picture, and I don't want everyone to see that. So outside is nice. If you've got a pretty park, get a friend to take pictures. Any way you want to take the pictures is fine. Now, what we can do is we can put a little bit of guidelines of photography up on the events, some more if you have more questions. But what I have found to be very helpful is if you have either a nice backyard or a friend has a nice backyard, or there's just a lovely little park nearby, go outside, take your pictures with natural light. Maybe not too bright a light, but natural light. That way you don't get too many spooky, creepy shadows, and you've got nice greenery behind you, maybe. That's my best suggestion.
For the doll competition, You can get as creative as you want. In a normal costume con where the dolls are just all plunked on a table in a room, and there's really no creativity in the presentation per se, but you could do interesting things with the background. If you're doing Captain Kirk, heck, give him the bridge. You could make your background animated, so it's a video. You could also have a video camera panning around the doll in interesting ways to give a dramatic presentation. So consider the artistic presentation as well.
Another thing to consider as a possibility is if you have access to a church or a hall or the state capitals in your areas or a government building, make sure you ask permission, of course, of the relevant individuals. But taking pictures in some of those areas will give you wonderful backdrops, often reasonable lighting. Watch your lighting so we're not seeing lots and lots of shadows and we can't see the costume. But those also give you great backdrops to display your work and enhance the image and the vision you're trying to promote in your outfit.
So I have a question for you, Phil and Kathy. Since we are recording this event, is this going to be available, or this webinar, is this going to be available for people to see who may have missed this specific presentation today?
Absolutely. It should be available within the week, and it'll be on the Silicon Web Customers Guild website, and there'll be a link to the video there. So this will be on YouTube, and it'll be listed on our page. I'll also, in the YouTube video, include a number of these links so that you don't have to go typing all these bizarre numbers for the different events. It's difficult to do that on a live presentation. All I can do is to use bit.ly or tiny URL to make some of them shorter, but I'll include full links to all of the URLs and email addresses in the YouTube video, and it'll be up this week.
And
Cool.
we'll make sure that their links to that YouTube video are also posted on those Facebook event pages.
Correct.
I thank you very much.
Any other questions?
No, but I do have one more statement.
Okay.
So we, well, here, and the rest of us, we did get permission from Karen Schnabel to use the title of Costume Con for these virtual events. And we're very grateful to her for letting us use them. In the future, if we do more virtual events, we will certainly let everyone know, or if they get back to being live again, of course, everyone will get to know that too. But in the future, if we do more virtual events, we may be swapping these around because I think Pierre's getting itchy fingers for designing. So I might have to take over on Folio and let him have single pattern, or you guys have single pattern. So until we are back live again and can see each other all again, we'll continue doing virtual. It's not super complicated. So we want to do that so people can have fun and still have community.
Kathy and I have done one of the other competitions before too, in terms of running the masquerade. So maybe we can swap off.
Cool.
And we're hoping for some additional people to jump in future years for other events.
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Great. Thanks a lot, everybody. I wanted to talk about upcoming webinars. Customer and Silicon Web President Jennifer Skwarski, who's on the call right now, is going to be providing an introduction to computer-controlled home embroidery machines. She's going to cover selecting one that's right for you, setting up your machine, using existing patterns, and creating your own. She's also going to be providing some ideas for projects that are perfect for holiday gift giving. And this is going to be on October 19th, Sunday, 2025, from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, 4 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, and look for announcements on social media. We'll be sending those out very shortly this week so that you can register for that event as well. Upcoming and past webinars, announcements of upcoming webinars are emailed to Silicon Web Customers Guild and International Customers Guild members. They're posted as events and notices on Facebook, and also published in the Silicon Web Customers Guild Virtual Customer Magazine. Information on upcoming webinars also appears on the calendar page of the Silicon Web Customers Guild website, and there's the URL for that. Recordings of past webinars, including this one, are available on the webinars page of the Silicon Web Customers Guild website, and this one should be up within the week. If you are interested in joining the Silicon Web Customers Guild, visit the Join Us page for information on how to do that, and we'd love to have you. Remember, if you're already an International Customers Guild member, you can be a member of more than one chapter, and it's very economical to join a second one. So please consider that. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Thanks to our panelists today for talking about the CustomCon 2026 virtual masquerades. And we'll look forward to seeing you next month at our next webinar.